even the used vehicles, at this point, following the National Automotive Development Council framework, we have to begin to rethink this tariff system. I think that we should increase tariffs on imported vehicles to increase or to stimulate production in Nigeria. We have a lot of people who have already set up their assembly plants. We start with the automotive industry is also enjoying the BIP, the backward integration program. We have to look into that to dissuade importation of finished items and promote assembly of
You're talking about new vehicles,
yes,
which has been slashed down to about 5%.
Yes.
And you're talking about encouraging local production.
Yes.
I thought the whole essence of establishing local assembly plants is to support, the company that established the local assembly plant.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that.
But if you slash the import duty on imported vehicles, you are more or less making it counterproductive, because they will not be able to compete favorably.
That's why
with the imported vehicles.
That's why I'm saying we should.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm saying we should increase the tariff, not reduce.
Instead of reducing the tariff, increase it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my own proposal.
Okay,
that's the only way we can stimulate production in Nigeria.
That's it.
Yes, and my apologies to Senator Adada that visited me while I wasn't in office. My office is also undergoing renovation, and I've also traveled quite a bit. Maybe one of those periods he came and I wasn't around. I want to reassure the House that it does not matter where I work from. I worked in Imo State, a rural state, for 2 years as Commissioner for Finance and Coordinating Economy. And this was even during the height of insecurity, and that did not deter me from carrying out my job or my role effectively. I want to assure you that it has nothing to do with the building or the location. I'm always going to carry out my job or my role to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Reading through your presentation is very articulate. You seem to be clear about what we need to do. But listening to your explanation and some of your policies, they are completely at variance with the very beautiful presentation that you made. Building documents from you under Nigeria Trade Office Ghana. Purchase of 2 units of project vehicles, SUV, 160 million naira. Is this a Nigerian-made vehicle? 160 million naira. Which kind of truck is this? I mean,
so it's for Ghana.
No, you make your notes.
Okay.
So we avoid the crossfire. I don't want to just show that there's a huge gap between what we preach and what we do in your ministry. Understand our extent of dependence. What is the balance of trade between Nigeria and China? What is the balance of trade between Nigeria and countries under the European Union? What is the balance of trade between Nigeria and the United Kingdom? Most of our major trading partners. And when I talk about balance of trade, delete oil. The other one is an international product. So that we can appreciate how much we have gained in terms of giving all the money we spent over the years on export promotion and all the institutions we've set up, whether they are banks, they are commission, whatever they are, so that it will give us a window whether we are not just throwing money away. We probably have far more institutions, whether financial institutions or other commissions, with the one primary objective to promote export. So by the time you give us this figure, it will give us an idea. Number two, not be found in your office and be found elsewhere. He claimed to know where you were. I don't know whether he's tracking you. But there is one major thing that I've seen in all the committees that I've attended, and this is something the Senate has to look at. Every time Nigeria has to travel, including your ministry, we are, I use the word, and excuse me, but we need to be brutally frank, but not brutal to people, but in terms of calling a spade a spade. We always have the largest delegation of Nigerians to trade missions. Now I see in your proposal, you have trade mission in Geneva, and you are going to spend almost over 1.70 billion naira to maintain your Geneva office, which means ideally you have trade experts in that office. And when I used to go to Geneva, where Nigerian ministers come with 30-man delegation, America will use their trade officers in Geneva to attend those meetings. They are just pure technical people. In Nigeria, the minister will lead the delegation, and by the time you multiply now, I don't know what the ESTA code is now, times 1,000, whatever it is, you'll find that ministers in trying to help put their people on trips, they don't attend the meetings, and they spend most of that time shopping at the expense of taxpayers. And that explains substantially why you will find huge overhead. I'm just asking myself, you are going to spend in your ministry 900 and, that is headquarters alone, 905 million naira. And sometimes when you put for 202 kobo, I really don't know how these numbers are generated because nobody sees kobo anymore. It doesn't exist. And every budget they put it there as if it was meant to be a joke. Budget is meant to be an honest statement, not a formality. So you spend so much money on overhead. Number two, you are arguing the case for waivers. For me, the most corrupt tools of government is to make law for everyone, and then for those you favor, you now grant them waiver to breach that law. Government must be seen to be fair to all. If we are going to have fair competition, and we have opted for free market, why should we even have thing called waiver? I think my plea to Mr. Chairman, sir, is that going forward, the National Assembly has the right to legislate, to curtail the power of those who exercise this discretion, because they are abused. Honorable Minister, be clear, this is not about you, but there has to be a day to wake up. You know, somebody asked about Volkswagen, about Pujo Automotive, about Leyland, about there was one in Bauchi where they produce tractors. Steer. It is our trade policies. This submission, recklessly in my view, to so-called WTO rules and so on, and then we expose ourselves to all kinds of goods and services coming in. Let me just ask you one question. When you go to a restaurant, and as the Minister of Trade, you pick a toothpick and it's made in China, that toothpick is illegally imported and drawing the forex from our increasingly impoverished central bank? Or how does it come in? Under our laws, should toothpick not made in Nigeria be found in the Nigerian market? I'm going for this ridiculous one because each time I go out and I see toothpick, they have this small packaging, nice packaging, but it's imported. And then we talk about promoting trade. How? So there's something you need to speak to. And, okay. Time is always a problem here. Provided that next time, sir, we will not be rushed to approve money because we are in a hurry. Because those who pay taxes don't earn the money in a hurry. They sweat. We must be sure, not assuming, sir. No, excuse me. Custom officer implements trade policies. They do not formulate the tariff policies. They collect what has been imposed on them. Yeah, but you shouldn't be tired so much that not to know the difference. It's my father. It's my father. He knows we are good friends. So I just want to say, Madam, looking at this thing, we spend a lot of money on the Ministry of Trade. But maybe by the time I see the balance of trade between us and our major trading partners, I will be able to see, and I would think in future, we ought to be able to say, over the past 5 years, this is the growth we have recorded, or this is how we have stagnated, so that we have overall view, and as I said the question, should we spend money in a ministry that is not promoting local production? I want us to set up a target, sir, where we should say, for example, all the cars in Nigeria, all those tires they were using in the past, not during Mongo Park era, just in the 80s, they were in Nigeria. In the early 90s, you have Michelin, you have Dunlop, you have several of them that were producing tires in Nigeria using rubber that is made or planted in my part of the country. And all of these are gone now. Any car you see on the road, the tire is imported. What are your plans to make a review? The reason I ask you, I didn't come to the Senate to lament. And Mr. President said during our campaign, and I believe he meant it, it is can-do spirit. So we are not going to continue, as this budget suggests, with old traditions, right? So you need to tell us, what are we going to do differently to get all the tires we're using in Nigeria made in Nigeria? The policy that brought them before was by government that says, in the military, unfortunately, rather interestingly, that says, if you want to sell tires in Nigeria, locate in Nigeria. If you want to clothe 200 million Nigerians, locate the textile factories in Nigeria. If you want to, because the only thing we have to sell to the world is our population. And so if you want to patronize that huge market of 200 million people, my friend, locate in Nigeria. That was the policy. It didn't occur by accident. And once we revise the policies, now, from what you are telling me, all the Toyotas on the road, and we have perhaps per capita the highest number of Toyota vehicles in Nigeria. I'm using what? We need to have a policy that seeks to make a complete huge change. Otherwise, year in, year out, we will go through these rituals. You will complete your tenure in 4 years. Our dependence will be much more than it was before you came. That has been the Lord of your predecessors. And may that not be the Lord of you and of the 10th National Assembly.
Thank you very much. Much distinguished. Just had everybody down there. It's still a comrade.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So please, Honorable Minister.
I would like to talk about the balance of trade. Your Excellency, when I entered the office, that was the first thing I asked for. And it is unfortunate to mention here that we do not have that record in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. That record probably exists, but not with the ministry. It exists with the customs and the central bank. If you notice, if you look in my budget line, there is a line item I provided there for trade intelligence. I propose to set up a trade intelligence unit right in my office. The purpose of the trade intelligence unit is to gather data. There is no way the Minister of Trade of any nation I know of can formulate or promulgate policies that is not based on data or that is not based on scientific evidence. We don't have that data. The data that we can even get from customs is also not accurate because we are still using manual methods of collecting data rather than automated method of collecting data. If you look at in the most industrialized countries, when goods even come in, there is very minimal manual or human intervention with their goods that come in, their cargo. From the time, from origination, when cargo leaves the point of origination to when they get into the destination port, there is automated tracking. Custom is already aware of what is coming in. When it comes in, it's scanned at the port of entry. So all of this data, the quantity you're bringing in, the item itself that you're bringing, the description, is available. It's in digital format. Now we are using AI technology to do a lot of data mining. Nigeria does not have it. I'm proposing to set up, the fund is not even, but we're managing the resources that we have to even situate, starting with having a database where we can even collate the data that is available and begin to analyze them and determine and even see, just based on what we even have, what is our balance of trade. The balance of trade is what fits into your balance of payments. If you're a net exporter, your foreign reserves will go up. If you're a net importer, your foreign reserves will go down. For us to survive as a country, our balance of trade and balance of payment must be positive. It must take care of our import and have enough reserve to buffer any economic shock that could happen. We don't have that, Your Excellency. But I propose to create one in my ministry, and when I come again, by the grace of God, I'm sure I will come for maybe quarterly review and all of that. We should have started something, and I'll be able to give you the data and figures then. Sorry?
We're interviewing or screening the CBN management. I talk about the fact that there's no country in which government agencies, the monetary authority, the fiscal authority, and I specifically mentioned Ministry of Trade. So, Central Bank knows how much it gives for export, and they also monitor what is imported into the country. And you have Ministry of Transportation, Customs. You are also supposed to share data. And I have heard ministers of finance and other agencies talking about balance of trade between us and these countries. To say that you are driving your car in the Ministry of Trade without dashboard, you don't even know your speed limits. Sir, this is serious.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're working on it, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
For 100 years is not a reason to continue to lament. The 10th National Assembly and this President Tinubu did not come in to lament. We must now take bold measures to put a halt. How can we be? We are paying people. Look, nobody enter Nigeria through air without immigration. Nobody go through road. At least those who are not Bangladesh, the former borders. We have data. It is better to have inaccurate data than to say you have no data at all.
Sir,
how do we measure whether we are progressing or we are regressing?
Thank you, Chairman. That's what we are saying. We are saying.
Why? When we have this number in CBN, in Ministry of Finance, and yes, Ministry of Finance, Budget Office, you should have them. We don't have to reinvent the wheel in every unit. That's why we have overbloated federal bureaucracy and we are spending 60% on our recurrent. No, this is not sustainable. That's not the way to go. With due respect.
Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Minister, I can see that you have inherited a lot of problems on assuming the duty on this.